Good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. It is 6:31 p.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. Notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, being held today, Thursday, April 8th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. by telephonic video. Can you hear me now? Okay. Which will be live streamed and accessible to the public as provided below for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. All agenda items are subject to action. In an effort to advance the public health goal of limiting face-to-face meetings, also called social distancing, to slow the spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19, there will be no in-person public access to the meeting. In accordance with the order of the Office of the Governor issued March 16, 2020, the City of Sandy Oaks will provide a live stream video and telephonic access of the meeting to the public. The information on joining the meeting or calling in is on the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments telephonically or by audio as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the City Secretary at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting, by emailing cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com, or by calling 210-607-0834. Written comments may be submitted to the City Secretary up to 2 hours before the meeting and will be provided to the City Council for their consideration. A recording of the telephonic meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Ms. Shelton, can we get a quorum call, please?
Not here.
Can't hear you.
No audio.
Can't hear you.
Hold on, we're having technical difficulties.
Alderman Fillinger,
Present.
Alderman Bricken, Alderman Rapino,
Here.
Alderman Crickmer,
Here.
Alderman Fuente,
Here.
and we have City Attorney Cassandra Ortiz. Missing Mr. Bricken, but you do have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have any citizens to be heard?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so no citizens to be heard. We do have a few guests with us this evening. The first one that I would like to introduce would be, and I don't know if Annette has joined us yet or not, or if it's just Natalie and Jerry. Can you hear me now? Okay. We have a presentation by Annette Bergener or her representative, which Natalie is on here as well, with GrantWorks, and Jerry Shepard or his representative, which Jerry is on, with Southwest Engineers regarding an update on the grant applications and possible discussion and/or action. So first, I would like to apologize to Natalie and Annette and Jerry that I failed to properly notice the item on the agenda for action by council. So we have a couple of options. Once you finish your presentation, we'll talk about them on what we can do next. But what I'd like for you to do now is just kind of brief the council on where we are with the grant project and the application, and introduce yourselves and what next steps are.
Annette, I'll let you take the lead.
Okay, can y'all hear me? I'm traveling and talking from my car, so I just want to make sure that y'all can hear me. Okay.
I hear you just fine.
Okay, great. So far, so good. I'm Annette Bergener with GrantWorks. as the mayor said. Thank you for having us tonight. Just a bit of background on how we got to where we are. Last fall, y'all went through a request for proposal process for a grant administrator, and we were selected by the council, I think in October. I think I have that right. Natalie can correct me if I'm wrong on that, to help you all prepare a community development block grant application. So once we heard from the Texas Department of Agriculture, that's who this application is submitted to, on how the scoring would work and how the application process would work, we got together with the mayor in early January to discuss the process of how we would go forward and consider some potential projects. So at that meeting, the Hilltop Peaks drainage project was mentioned, that y'all had already done some work on that. And then I think maybe we talked about a few other things. At the end of that month, we held a public hearing, which is required during the grant process to take public input. And again, it was in conjunction with your regular council meeting. And I know we talked about the Hilltop Peaks project as being the most likely project that we would select. So one of the major factors in a community development block grant application is that the project has to serve 51% low to moderate income residents of the city. So once we identified the Hilltop Peaks project, GrantWorks has door-to-door income surveyors, and they spent about a day in that Hilltop Peaks area surveying the folks who live up there to determine their income and to verify that it was a low to moderate income area, which it is. The folks that we surveyed ended up being 59% low to moderate income. So that meant we were good to go on that project, go forward with the design and potential submission of that application. So then I think it was at y'all's last meeting at the end of March when you selected Southwest Engineers to help us further prepare the application. We had a meeting with the mayor and Catherine project. He's been working on it since then, using looking at the previous work that y'all had completed to inform his project. And so far, it sounds like it's a viable project. The budget is not equal to the full maximum grant request of $350,000, and I think he may be able to talk more about that. And the resolution that I sent to the city for y'all to consider, which I guess we're getting to that issue later. It says that the grant request can be for up to $350,000, and then the local match for the grant application is 15% of the grant amount, and that is based on the size of Sandy Oaks. So if you submit for the whole $350,000, then it would be $52,500. And then, if you don't submit, then it would be whatever 15% of the grant amount is. So I think that I think that brings y'all up to where we are now. I don't know if you have any questions, or maybe Jerry can add a bit more about the project, exactly what we're doing.
If no questions, I'll be more than happy to do that. Okay, since I have not.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, as she said, I'm Jerry with Southwest Engineers in Gonzales. We've been in business for over 42 years. I've been here for almost 10, and I've been doing this kind of grant work stuff since I started back in the 80s. So I have been pretty well honed on how to do these things. So I hope you understand you're in good hands. As she said, I looked at the project as it was actually, let me back up. I looked at the preliminary engineering report that M&S did, pull some stuff out of that to ask the mayor about, and she answered those quickly. So I got to go, got going on drainage from on Hilltop Peaks was consisted of redigging the which is lowering and widening basically the ditch along the west side of Hilltop Peaks from Loman south to Skyla. And considering the worst case in these grant type situations, the project funded out of the 2022 funds, which this is a 21-22 cycle, with bids received sometime in 2024, which probably would be maybe the spring or summer of 2024, give you enough time to get it done before the end of the contract. I projected construction costs on that size of project to be about $133,000, and I whipped it and bumped them up and everything. That's as far as I could go. The cost make it feasible. So a project, a project of adding the engineering fees and grant admin fees would give you about $195,000 project for that one. Keeping in mind that all of the people that were surveyed, and I'll let Annette address that, but a lot of the people that are upstream of Loman on Hilltop Peaks will benefit from this work, as far as I can tell. So I thought of another option to extend that work, that ditch work, on up, going to the north on Hilltop Peaks from Loman to a point about 300 and some odd feet south of that little elbow at the bend. So that would be the same worst case scenario of 2022 funds and a bids received in 2024. The construction cost would be about $263,000, and your grant application request would be $341,000. The original project, your match would be 15%, which would be about $29,250, and the match on this possible extension would be $51,150. I have no idea what your desires or inclination is for the match, but those are the two options that I have crunched numbers on and feel pretty confident with. So Annette, you can talk about beneficiaries if you want. That's about what I've done. Did everybody get all that?
We did. And Jerry, it's Mayor Ball. I do have a question for you. So the second scenario that you proposed, is that necessary or is that recommended?
I don't know that it's necessary.
You froze with your arm.
I'm having
Sorry, we're laughing because we lost our internet for a moment.
Okay. I have not seen this on the ground, but based on what I can find on Google Earth and our topographic services that we have with Google Earth that come along with that, it would appear that people north of Loman would possibly have the same problem drainage-wise if it can't get all the way down to Skyla on the south end. But I don't know if that's the way it is. Based on profiles, everything's going downhill through Loman on down to Skyla Drive down there on the south side. So has anybody else had problems north of Loman
Chris,
with drainage?
let me ask Chris, you know what intersection we're talking about? Because you were the one placing the mosquito dunks there for the longest time. Is it just on the south side or is it on the north side as well? It's on both sides. And Jerry, the design drawings that you received, did it not include some work on the north side of that intersection? And you're just talking about extending it?
I haven't looked at those. The only ones I have here that I actually have seen are the ones south of Loman.
Okay.
There may have been some in there, but I never did take a look at those.
I think it was on both. I think it was on both sides. And I do know that we have Jared Mott on the line for a different presentation, but he was instrumental in those designs. Jared, do you have any commentary on that?
Yeah, I'm Jared Mott from M&S Engineering. I did those original drawings a while ago. I do not have them with me, so I can't respond for sure. I believe the goal of that was to look at the intersection that was really flat. So my gut is telling me that we didn't jump across the street more or less because there was a culvert in between, and we didn't want to adjust any of that on the roadway. We're just looking at driveways. Does that help?
Well, yes, no. I was gonna look and see if I could find the drawings that I had sent, the original, here we go, I think this is it. Nope, that's not it.
Excuse me, Mayor Ball.
Yes, go ahead.
Did Mr. Maldonado say that he is placing dunks on both sides of Bloman?
The answer is yes.
Okay, that would kind of indicate to me we have an issue on both sides of Bloman.
I would
So-
agree. And I do have a question here. Jerry, you mentioned with the extension of the project further north on Hilltop Peaks, there were 263 in construction. What was the grant and the engineer fees on that?
The grant fees are $35,000 and our fee on the extension would be $43,000
And
for
then,
a total of $341,000.
okay, and then you mentioned that the 15% match. And Annette, can you help us out with that? Or Natalie, either one? Looking on this phone for a calculator here.
Be $51,150, 15%.
51,150.
Yes, ma'am.
And the total grant application, we're looking to submit a request not to exceed $350,000. Is that right, Annette?
That's correct.
Okay. So from my perspective, either of these are viable. I think once Jerry's had an opportunity to do the drive-by and actually do a physical inspection, I think he'll have a better idea of how much extension needs to be done. So with that, any questions from the council for our team here?
Mayor, can I interject something? This is Jerry.
Yes, go ahead.
I did not intend to go to take a drive-by. I was just going by what I can. This is an application and we are pretty strapped on time. So
Okay.
it's basic, in my thought process, it's basically what the city wants to match. I don't know if that's even a concept, but if you're willing to match the 5150 or 29,250, that's the two different numbers that you would have to put into this project.
And we knew going into it that it was going to be around $52,000 on a match. So that's not a
Okay.
surprise. We were just trying to gauge what the project potentially could be worth. And I do understand we're only at all we're doing here for the council is the next step, gathering information to determine the next step, which would be to approve a resolution to go ahead and submit an application. So we're not
Absolutely.
committing to anything here other than that next step.
Understand? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, that was really geared more towards the council than you, Jerry.
Okay.
But at some point, I'm going to want you to come out here because, I'd like to meet you in person and give you
Oh,
a
yeah.
drive-by over there.
Yep. I can definitely do that, but I just didn't want you to think we were gonna wait on me to go do a site visit because we're way out of time
No,
on
no,
this
no,
application, so.
no.
Excuse me, Mayor Ball, this is Charles Billinger again.
Yes, sir.
Uh, if there is pooling on the north side of Lowman, it can be caused by a couple of different issues. Just erosion causing the pooling,
Mhm.
or it could actually be a drainage issue. If it's a sunken spot, we may well be able to just fill a sunken spot. If it's an actual drainage issue, of course we're gonna have to extend the work.
Mhm.
I would be willing to go by and look at what that issue is and advise you tomorrow, and you can contact everybody as to what needs to be done there, ma'am.
Okay, and take some pictures too.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions from the council members for our guests?
What is the drop dead date that we need to put this application in? Since the time is pressing,
I think the date is May 3rd.
May 3rd.
That's
So
correct.
we do have some, how much time will we need to prep the application? Is 3 weeks enough time once we get the information as to how much of this we're going to have to extend, if any?
Annette,
So
I'd like
from
you to.
from
I'm-
the grant writer's perspective, we can go ahead and do, a lot of the application. Our issue is that we are required to publish notice in the newspaper, letting the public know that we are applying for this application, that we're submitting this application, and that has to happen 5 days prior to May 3rd. Y'all's paper only runs once a week. So, and we usually like to get that notice in, at least 2 weeks ahead of time. I mean, only worst case scenario would we ever do it 1 week ahead of time, because there's been too many times when the paper doesn't run and we are just left scrambling, and that's no way to submit an application.
Yeah.
So
So-
we would need, if we could get the resolution approved as soon as possible, that's what gives me the authority to place that notice in the paper. Then we can finish working on the application after that. It's that resolution that has to happen before we can put the notice in the paper, and that's what we're trying to get accomplished as soon as possible.
And so,
And then Jerry can tell you how much time he needs to do his work.
so what I will recommend here is that, that we have a special meeting probably Monday or Tuesday of next week, single item, which would be to address the resolution. And then that would give you enough time. That'd give Jerry enough time. And hold on just a moment. I'm getting a cross-eyed look.
I concur.
Monday, we have
could do
the
it
animal
Tuesday.
control.
Could we do it Tuesday? Is, since the members are on, is everyone available for Tuesday for a short meeting? 30 minutes max.
Charles is.
I am.
And
Tom is.
I am.
Okay. So we need 4 present for a special meeting. They all said that they were. And so would somebody, are there any other questions for our guests?
I have a question. So to submit the application, we do need to determine an amount before we submit.
We can submit
Yes.
up to $350,000. Now, that brings up a good question, Annette. What if, when we start getting into the nitty gritty of the project, it does not come to that? Are we still okay?
Well, so if the project goes over or if the bids come in lower, which
If it's lower.
if it's lower, we should be fine. You can consider even doing more work to get to reach that grant amount.
Okay.
Or you.
I got a question on that,
Yes, sir.
Jerry. If they're gonna pass a resolution for up to $350,000, does the application have to be, can it be anything less than 350?
Yes, that's why we word it up to $350,000 to allow us that
Okay.
wiggle room.
So that doesn't cause me a problem at all, because I've already got numbers crunched pretty much on what. Is that Charlie? Is that was his name that says he's gonna go check out stuff?
That's
Yes,
Charles
sir.
Fillinger, yes. He's one
Okay.
of our aldermen.
If it turns out that link that I assumed off of all of this work is correct, then I'm already done. All I gotta do is submit my budget and project map to, and location map to Annette, and then it's in her hands. If it's a little bit less or different, I can readjust my numbers and I could still get that done pretty quick.
Well, and again, we had originally, when we first started talking about this last year, we understood that the potential match could be as high as $52,000, and we were okay with it at that time. I'm of the mind that we should do the best job possible for any project that we take on. I'd rather be prepared for the unexpected, because we're not really going to know what we. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what you heard, but I would like, I'd like any project that we take on to be the best that it possibly can be. And sometimes we don't know what we're going to encounter until we get in there.
Exactly. And that's what's the deal with these applications, that we make a lot of assumptions, best assumptions you can make, even with the construction costs that I'm trying to use could be blown out of the water. Lately, everything has doubled in price, but it could get better. And then you have a lot of room to do more work if you can. I mean, it's all a juggling act.
Exactly. Okay. Anyone else on council have any questions? So what we need now is a motion from someone on the council to schedule a special meeting.
I move that we schedule a special meeting on Tuesday, and I lack the date. I don't have a
13.
calendar in front of me. The 13th of April, 2021,
At 6:30?
6:30 p.m.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Rapino and a second by Alderman Fillinger to call a special meeting for Tuesday, April 13th at 6:30 p.m. And the intent of that meeting is to discuss the resolution for applying for the grant. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that motion carries. And just remember, we will require 4 in attendance. Okay, Annette and Jerry and Natalie, thank you very much for joining us, and we will be in contact and next week after we do whatever we're going to do here.
Thanks, Mayor.
All right,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for
Good to meet
joining
all of
us.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, next up on the agenda would be a presentation by Jared Mott with M&S Engineering regarding the road bond update and possible discussion and/or action. So I did reach out to Jared to join us this evening. There's some items that we've been kind of throwing back and forth and have not finalized. And again, this fits into what we just talked about with the previous project, which is sometimes we don't know what we're going to encounter once we start down that road. So I'll let Jared go ahead and do his presentation, just to kind of give us an update on where we're at, and then we'll open it up for questions from council. Go ahead, Jared.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Yeah, the 2019 street maintenance project we've been working on consists of a 2-course surface treatment for a bunch of streets. A lot of these is the whole street, and some of these are portions, but it includes New Mathis, Flat River Drive, Lost Hills Drive, Sugar Maple, Cannonwood, Dragon Rock, Waterbrook, Restless Deer, Cotton Oak, and Hickory Shadow, and then a little intersection at New Mathis and Skilla. Portions of it also include some pothole and shoulder repair for areas that are needing a little extra love. The plans have been discussed already. We're currently holding at an 85% set, and we're looking into adding walking paths or potentially incorporating some other items as the city is interested in into the project. Overall, having a larger project would be better for the city. If they're planning on doing all those pieces, you'll get a better deal doing everything together. As far as the next steps, upon figuring out, I guess, what's going to be included, we need to work through that if there's a scope of work change. But final design, if we were to be given the go ahead to just finish up right now, that would be 2 weeks. We could have final design done, and then we would go to a bid and award phase. We would have the final design approved by the city council, and I guess everything would then go to bid. Bidding generally will consist of having contract documents updated for a set start date, and then posting it online and in the newspaper. That will need to run a minimum of 2 weeks. By law, we push that further. Usually it's 3 weeks to be able to answer any questions bidders may have, and at least give people a decent time to respond back if they're interested. With that, the bids will be collected and read aloud, and we would then go back, check references and information that they've given, and provide a recommendation to the council to whether award the contract to that or whatever the city would like to do. With that, this construction phase that we're having really is short. It's 1 month long, we're predicting. This sort of work that we have currently is really just a matter of logistics and getting everything together. The work will go quite quickly, and will be done fast. With that said, the season for this sort of construction is really just starting. Typically, road construction happens when temperatures are above 60, and luckily here in Texas, we have a pretty good season for that, lasting roughly from April through October. Along with that, there's also the whole market conditions that we're looking at. It was discussed in the last presentation that construction costs are going up and down. So the market volatile right now, and we don't know exactly what to expect. A lot of these projects haven't been put out to bid yet. We're just now getting into that, and we'll know more, at least right at the start, kind of what the market is doing with these sort of things in about a month. I suspect that there will be some increases in that based on information off of the internet, news articles. The markets that are being hit really heavily right now are wood products and metal products. You'll see a lot of, if you go into Lowe's, you'll see wood has gone up drastically, and so has metal. Luckily, those items are not in this sort of construction. Ours are more based on oil prices. And I guess to give a good representation of what we think is expecting right now, you could take a look at diesel prices. So they have been going up, and I don't think that they'll suddenly drop or suddenly spike, but there has been an increase that way with the COVID vaccinations rolling out. A lot of the issues that breaks, and just trying to get materials to where they can be sold. So going forward, it at least to me, it seems like the vaccinations seem to be progressing well, and in the future, we should see a lot more things opening up and becoming more stable. So hopefully that will bring a little bit of relief to the market, and we'll see these projects still continuing to happen. So.
Okay, thank you, Jared. So I did want to share something with the members here on council. There is some federal funding that is coming our way. I do not have a definitive number. It's a substantial number, but I do not have a definitive number. We are still looking, we're working with the Treasury Department to find out what the parameters are for how we may utilize that funding. And so when we first talked about this road bond a couple of years ago, there was discussion that we, the city, could supplement work with city funds to provide either additional road work or whatever we wanted to do along the lines of this project. One thing I do know for a fact, with the additional funding that's coming our way, it cannot be used for roads. What it can be used for, one of the items that we do know, is it can be used for infrastructure. So that's why Jared and I are kind of having this conversation, and I wanted to bring it to council because we are 60 days out from receiving any funding right now. By law, it has to be in our hands 60 days after March 25th. So we do expect some funding to be coming. It'll come in 2 different payments, one now, one next year. But the point of all of this is we don't know how much we're getting. We don't know the parameters that we can operate with those funds. And we do know that we want to address, not necessarily, I don't want to call it the S word because people get excited about that, but a walking path along the roadway or some way to contain or retain the road edge. So I'm kind of asking for a little bit more time knowing that we're just now entering the construction season, but I would like to be able to, again, make this project the best that it possibly can be and incorporate some of the needs that we definitely know we have. And again, I don't have any other definitive information to share regarding the funds that are coming our way, but there are monies heading this direction. So does anybody have any questions for Mr. Mott? And everyone's on mute, or can you hear me? Oh, okay. I'm going to take it that nobody has any questions. Okay, Jared, well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will definitely be in contact. And as I learn more along the potential discussions we may need to have related to the road bond, we certainly will have a conversation at that time.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited for the city and looking forward to working with you.
Okay, well, thank you, Jared, and have a great evening.
Thanks.
Okay, we are going to, is Marshall Lopez, he is still here. So we're going to move to item 5, and we will start at item 5A, updates and announcements for Marshall Lopez with possible discussion and action. And before he goes, I want to go. So we have some exciting news. The TCOL has approved the request that was submitted. And so over the course of the coming probably 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, the Marshal's office will be closing down, and we'll make a clean cut between the Marshal's office and the Sandy Oaks Police Department. So this is a big transition for us, and it's very exciting. And I do want to recognize Marshall Lopez for his hard work in making that happen. So go ahead, sir. I stole your thunder, but I wanted to be able to let you know how appreciative we are for the work that you've done to get us to this point.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think this is a huge accomplishment for the city. Obviously we all know the Marshal's office was created, however, it wasn't established. This department, make this department better, grow, and the end result is making it the police department, and hopefully in the near future, if not sooner, make it 24/7. So there's a lot of goals that were made by myself, and without the help, with the surrounding community and the citizens and the, from animal control to the court clerk to the city clerk, everybody played a great part in this. So I'm actually very speechless when the news came in today. So it's an amazing thing for the city. So I'm very happy.
And we are too.
You're welcome.
Okay, so with that, we'll move on to item 5B, which is presentation of monthly report by Marshall Lopez with possible discussion and/or action. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So for the numbers of reports that we took in for the month of March, if you look at the court defendants, we had 195 court defendants for the month of March, and with that, we had 371 cases. With that, moving on down, we had 66 traffic stops, 58 citations were issued, and 50 warnings were given as well. If you scroll down a little bit down, we had 3 arrests. If you look at the arrest sheet that we had, give me 1 second. So it ranged from 2 warrants from SAPD, and then we had unlawful carry. We currently have some other cases pending that are still in investigations that comes sexual assault of a child and assault. We're still waiting on some information. Analysis that we received from cases that I have submitted regarding some felony cases regarding some drugs. We got that information as well, so that's always a good thing. Moving on down. So possession of drug paraphernalia, we had three citations for that. Those individuals will be coming to court. If you all move down a little bit further, we had 3 civil matters, 2 disturbances, 5 information calls, 1 suspicious person, and 2 thefts, 1 assist other agency, 1 call for service for harassment, 2 criminal trespasses were issued, 1 assault. And if you move down, we also had a commercial vehicle citation that was issued, and also with another junk vehicle citation that was issued as well. So those individuals winded up coming to court as well. Also, along with the recreational vehicle citation was issued. So we also have those individuals, like I said, for recreational vehicles, commercial vehicles that are non-compliant within the city, and 1 criminal mischief. And then moving to the next page. 1 missing person. That individual was found and located and returned to their guardian. And then a little bit further down, an illegal dumping as well. Sorry to move back up. And then 1 case for sexual abuse of a child, and that's currently under investigation. Also, our new deputy / officer will be starting on Monday, beginning his field training, and look forward to bringing him on and hopefully in the near future releasing him, and so he can cover the nights for the citizens of Sandy Oaks. So, and that's all I have.
Any questions for Marshall Lopez?
I have a question for you, Marshall Lopez. The
Yes, ma'am.
information, is that citizens calling to give you information or like tips, or what is that?
All these that you see on this this data sheet, these are calls for service that when a citizen calls in, when they call in, they call county dispatches us, and those are the calls for service that we get. I'd like to remind everybody again, we utilize Bexar County Dispatch Services. So when we are on duty, either myself or Deputy Castillo, we take those calls for service. If we're not on duty, then county winds up responding. But if we are on duty, it is our jurisdiction, we respond. We don't report to county. And I believe some individuals are confused or mistaken that the city of Sandy Oaks Marshal / Police Department is under Bexar County. We are not under Bexar County. We are our own entity, and we don't. And Javier Salazar is not my boss. So we are our own entity. So any calls for service that you dial 911 or the non-emergency line, we respond to those calls. If that gets your answer.
Well, I was wondering who, like, the information, citizens are giving you information?
No, the dispatcher, the information
Oh,
that they provided to the dispatcher,
I got
and they
it.
relayed that information to us.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions for Marshall Lopez? Okay, thank you, sir. Let's move on to item 5C, which is discuss and or possible action on ordinance 2021-181, establishing a citizen complaint review board and related matters. So if you recall from our last meeting, we talked through this ordinance and some other specifics related to it. And what you should each have is a final view of the ordinance based on our discussion from the last meeting. And there were a couple of items. Well, I think the one item that is most interesting, or that was discussed and changed from the original proposed ordinance, had to do with section 3, item A, The board shall be composed of 7 members, it's comprised of 4 residents of the city, 1 Sandy Oaks Police Department police officer, 1 employee who is non-police of the city, and 1 elected official of the city, each appointed by the mayor or a member of the city council and approved by city council. We have the ordinance here. We also have the non-disclosure form that is required for anyone serving on the review board. And they would have to sign that and turn it in. And then there's also a copy of the citizen complaint form itself that is currently on the website. That form is also, it's on the website in English and Spanish, so it's available for anybody. Again, to date, we have not had any complaints filed, but we'd just rather be prepared because there's a lot of confusion and not understanding how all of this works. But we certainly want to have citizens who feel that they have a valid complaint. They need a process in order to file that complaint. So, are there any questions from council on this?
I just wanted to point out that the heading on the City of Sandy Oaks Complaint Review Board, non-member disclosure, confidentiality, and indemnity should say hold harmless instead of harmless agreement. So there's just a spelling error there.
I
We
see
might
that,
want
yeah.
to correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a couple of things we need to discuss on this. And before we take any action, I'd like to ask the marshal and also for the council to chime in as well, the selection process itself. So I'll throw out what my thought was. And Marshall, I know we haven't talked about this yet. You may have a totally different perception on how this needs to work, but my thought was that we have a copy of the approved ordinance along with the non-disclosure and a copy of the complaint form in a package that would be available for anybody who wanted to come down and pick one up. They could also download them from the website, and then they would be submitted. I'm guessing that's probably who we need to figure out is who they would be submitted to. And then once you have, we'd need to put like perhaps a deadline for submission of those, and then hello? Okay. Ultimately, a selection process and lost my train of thought again. But that's kind of what I was thinking. So Marshall Lopez, tell me what your ideas are for getting citizens to serve in on this board.
Also, I mean, that's everything that you have mentioned was great as well. Providing a resume of any activities that you're associated with, volunteer work, things like that, just the background of the resume. Obviously, once we, whatever packets come in, obviously we sit down, conduct an interview, ask some questions, just inform something real simple and easy. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel here. So, obviously the more the better, and eventually narrowing it down to the best possible candidates for the city to serve on this board.
I think the interview is actually a good idea because I wonder, somebody may have an interest, but maybe they don't understand the full scope of it. And at least by having that opportunity to sit and discuss it, call it an interview, call it meeting, whatever you want to call it. But I think that's probably a good idea.
list some references as well, so we'd be able to, conduct, to get a background of you and things like that. Obviously, we're not doing an in-depth criminal history or anything like that, but people that know you and can vouch for you on your character and things like that.
Okay, and I do know that, so we did talk about this at the last meeting, but I'll go over it again. The persons appointed to the board, there's some qualifications here. One must be a qualified voter of the city, as determined by Texas Election Code, for at least 6 months prior to appointment, except for members serving in the capacity of the SOPD police officer or an employee of the city. Must be willing to make a 1-year commitment to serve and thereafter attend meetings as required. Be willing to sign and execute a non-disclosure confidentiality statement to be filed with the city secretary in a form provided by the city. Have no misdemeanor convictions 3 years prior to appointment, includes Class C offenses, but does not include violations of city traffic ordinances or codes of the Texas Transportation Code, and no felony convictions. Have no pending criminal charges before a court of competent jurisdiction over such matters. Have no outstanding debts owed to the city, which we did determine during our last meeting included property taxes that are in arrears. Have no outstanding citations issued by the city except for violations of city traffic ordinances or codes or any legal matters before the city. And they must attend all initial as well as periodic training sessions conducted by the Sandy Oaks Police Department. Okay. All right, any comments or discussion from any of the council members? If not, if someone would like to make a motion?
Question,
Oh, hold on, we do have a question.
does this need a second reading and can someone waive that?
This is the second reading.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, is it, Ms. Ortiz, this is the second reading of this one, correct?
Well, at the last meeting, y'all had asked for the ordinance for 2 readings. So my understanding with this was going to be the first reading because this is the first actual draft of this ordinance that the council has seen.
Got it. Okay.
And there are some, unless council waives the second reading rule, there are some blanks or one blank under section 4D regarding terms for council to discuss or fill in.
Ah, got it. Pardon?
I said, don't make it October.
Okay. Now I see it now where it says month of each year. Okay.
Oh, and Mayor, the
ahead.
ordinance references the chief of police because I was not sure what the status of TCOL was at the time, and not knowing if this would be, when this was going to be adopted, whether TCOL would have approved. Congratulations to the marshal and the city, by the way, for that. So that could be, if this ordinance is adopted now, that may need to be changed to if it's adopted at a second reading and the police department is in effect, then chief of police can remain.
You're on the phone? Okay. No, that's a good point. And we are, the timing is actually pretty good. I think going for a second reading is probably the best way to do that. That way we don't have to change anything. And we're already anticipating the final conversion from Marshall to PD in the next couple of weeks anyway. So we'll just work to make sure all that's done before council approves this. April 26th, is that what the date is?
Or no, the 22nd.
22nd.
So no action.
Okay. So there's no action needed on this item. So we will, I'll pull this one. I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry, we do have an action item on here. Section 4 on the terms. Item D, a member's term shall commence in a particular month of each year. Since the Does anyone have any recommendations on the month that, well, if we did March, that wouldn't work because we haven't even adopted the ordinance yet. So we'd have to wait till next March. How about May?
May's good.
We should have everything ready.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion to amend this proposed ordinance? And do we need to, Ms. Ortiz, do we need to make a motion on the spelling? On the, not on the ordinance, but on the non-disclosure?
Yes, I would recommend a motion on the non-disclosure as well. Because also paragraph 4, the non-disclosure needs the actual ordinance number filled in, but that can just be filled in once the ordinance is adopted.
So we could actually do the non-disclosure at the next meeting when we actually approve this for the second reading.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So the only thing we need to do on this one is just to address the section 4, item D, and make a recommendation for to put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Anybody?
Okay,
like-
Madam Mayor, I would like to move an amendment to fill in the blank in section 4. May of each year.
Wait. Charles, sorry, you cut out. Could you start over, please?
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we amend section 4, paragraph D. A member's term shall commence in May of each year.
Okay. We have a second?
Yes.
I'll second, or whoever else wants to.
Was that Mr. Crickmer who's second?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Crickmer to fill in the No? Yes? Okay, sorry. We have a motion by Alderman Fillinger, a second by Alderman Crickmer to fill in section 4, paragraph D, to read a member's term shall commence in the month of May of each year. All in favor, say aye.
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 Is that only 3? I did not hear
Aye.
Mr. Crickmer.
Aye.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that motion carries. And then we
Madam-
will, do we need a motion, Ms. Ortiz, to push this to the next meeting for the second reading?
Yeah, if there are no other changes, a motion to move it to second reading.
Okay,
Mayor Ball,
yes, sir.
I would like to discuss the term of office. We're asking the citizens to undergo training, and I'm wondering if it is fair to say, okay, we need you to attend these training sessions for a 1-year term. I mean, I don't know what the training will involve. If we're going to have 3 or 4 or 5 training sessions, for 1 year and put all this time into training. And that was asked by a citizen, ma'am.
Okay, so let's look at it from this perspective. So we talked last time about the quorum, and
Yes,
what would
ma'am.
be needed. So we would need 4 of the 7 to be in attendance at any review. And perhaps, I do understand what you're saying. Perhaps we do them on a rotational basis. So like for the first year, those individuals would serve for a year. 2 would serve for a year, 2 would serve for 2 years, and then we just do a rotational that way.
I
Or-
would agree with that. We could do it just like we did the alderman's position. You know, put 4 names in the bucket, have a drawing, and 2 would serve one year initially, and 2 would serve a two-year term. I would like to see a rotation of service so that, we would have a couple of experienced board members and, but have the ability for more citizens to serve. I like the idea of alternating, two initially for 1 year and 2 for initially 2 years. And just, that would give an opportunity of a person,
And do you anticipate a term limit on that? Or,
I do not, ma'am.
okay.
I'm not saying that you can only serve 1 year. You can say, well, I would like to continue to serve.
Okay,
I don't think we need term limits for a review board.
okay. And Alderman Crickmer, were you attempting to comment?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. You can continually, you don't need to be stuck to one term, right?
No, that's not what I'm suggesting at all.
Okay.
I'm suggesting that, people put in the time to receive the training, and then tell them, well, you're out after a year.
Right. I got you.
Okay.
Okay, no. So we would need a motion to amend the proposed ordinance for section 4, paragraph A.
I said it all, but I don't know if I can put it into the,
Just change the last part of the sentence.
okay. All right, I propose an amendment, section 4, paragraph A. Each member of the board shall be appointed by the mayor or a member of the city council and approved by the city council for a term of
2 years.
2 years, with the initial board by lottery or drawing, 2 members serving 1 year initially and 2 members serving 2 years, and continue that rotation.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to amend section 4, paragraph A, to change the term of 1 year to read term of 2 years, with an initial selection by lottery or a drawing for 2 members to serve for 1 year and the other 2 to serve for a full 2 years. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right.
Aye.
That motion carries. And then we need one last item for scheduling second reading.
Actually, Mayor, with that motion now under section 3, B2, there's the 1 year commitment. Do y'all want to keep it as the 1 year commitment or change that to
A term commitment?
Yeah, or I guess a 2-year commitment for some members, and then, or y'all can just, that sentence can be struck as well if you don't need a commitment. So I don't know if y'all need to
Can we
make that
just
change too.
take out the term and just say commitment? Just to say willing to make a commitment to serve and thereafter
Or
attend
that-
as required?
Can make a commitment to serve for the term that they're appointed for, or something to that effect,
Okay,
instead of specifying the 1 year or 2 years.
yeah, that makes sense. Commitment to serve.
Term is appointed.
Appointed term, okay. Okay, that was a good catch there, Ms. Ortiz. Thank you for that. So yes, we do need a motion from the council members.
Where is it?
It's section 3, paragraph B, item 2.
Section 3.
I will take a shot at that, ma'am.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I propose an amendment to section 3, paragraph
Oh.
B, sentence or phrase 2. Be willing to make a commitment to serve for their appointed term and thereafter attend meetings as required.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger, a second by Alderman Rapino to amend section 3, paragraph B, phrase 2 to read, be willing to make a commitment to serve for their appointed term and thereafter attend meetings as required. I'm sorry? Rapino. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, that motion carries. Okay, Ms. Ortiz, was there any other item in here that referenced a term that we needed to be concerned with?
That is all I found.
Okay, perfect. So final motion is to bring this back.
I move that we bring back this ordinance for a second reading on our April 22nd regular meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to bring this proposed ordinance back for a second reading at our April 22nd regular meeting. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, that motion carries. Okay, Marshall Lopez, we are done with you for the evening. Thank you for joining us, and you're free to go unless you want to stick around.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Y'all be careful and have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Mr. Marshall.
Okay, we're going to go back to item 4, the financial budget. The income and expenses will be reported by City Secretary Catherine Yelton with possible discussion and/or action. I'll let her go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay, thank you. So our beginning balance as of March 1st, 2021 was $298,007.84. We had checks and payments of $132,639.17, deposits and credits of $130,327.79, and an ending balance as of March 31st, 2021 of $295,696.46. And Mayor Ball asked me to also talk about the bond account. And I failed to email it to everyone because I just created the document, but I did include it in any printed packages. So there's a paper called Bond Account. It starts on August 20th. Oh, just the value as of right now? Wait, one
Well,
second, April, sorry.
I'm gonna join in real quick. So what I asked Ms. Shelton to do is to identify the amount of funds that belong in the road bond account that currently reside in our general fund. And we're right in the middle of our audit. I think they're about to wrap up on that, and they will help us get the correct numbers into the correct accounts. But
I lost you. Yeah.
move, I'll see.
Okay, there you go.
Hello.
Can't hear you.
I wanted to make sure that everyone understood that the amount of money that Ms. Yelton is talking about for our general fund balance includes monies that will be reduced from here, revenues, and moved to the road bond. That's all I wanted you to share with
I
what the
understand.
value of that money is.
Oh, okay, got you. So on that bond account that I'd created, I do have 3 pending transactions that are coming from the general fund to the bond fund. Those are pending, and those will appear then correctly in the April financial report.
Gotcha.
Oh, let me count that up. The amount that belongs out of the general fund is
45,000.
46,744.45. So those 3 pending ones should be reduced from the general fund total. And again, that will reflect in the April's finance report. Yeah, that's okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's the amount. And then I still haven't received the paperwork and the CD from county for March yet. They typically run about 3 weeks into the next month. So. I can't hear you. I don't think so. Oh, she's on mute.
If you notice on the little spreadsheet she put together, it identifies that account is earning interest. And we'll talk about interest on our reserve funding here in a moment, but maybe we should move to the bank.
Can I ask,
Yes, sir.
what did we pay Frost Bank for that amount? About 5 from the bottom.
Frost Bank?
That $56,799.55.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
is our first payment. That's our first payment that had to be made on the bond.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
So we're already paying for it, and we have money coming in from property taxes for that as well. So, okay, any other questions for Ms. Shelton on the finances? If not, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll move. Go
One at
ahead,
a time.
John.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bond account as stipulated in the,
The
The
finance report.
financial report.
correct. The financial report. I move that we approve and accept the financial report for this
Okay.
meeting.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Crickmer and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept the financial reports as presented. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oh, there she is. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, Next, we will move on to item 5, which is quarterly report. We're going to receive a brief from Alderman Rapino on the quarterly investment report and possible discussion and/or action. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, the investment report, as far as tax pool goes, as of March 31st, 2021, the ending amount as of that date is $127,000, 27,666 and 22 cents, with a period earning of $52.14 from 1/1/21. Our checking account, as we already know, ending on 4/1/21 was $295,696.46. Of that, all our accounts are collateralized by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York through treasury bonds, and up to $721,208.12. And that's everything, all our monies that are not protected by the by FDIC. And that is the financial report for this quarter. I make a motion that we accept that if there are no questions.
I have a question for you. So this is the investment report. We do not include the road bond because that is a debt fund, not an investment fund. Is that correct?
Well, no, I just said it. I didn't include that as an investment. I just included it as, and I've reported in the past that our money is collateralized through the
Right. Okay.
over and above FDIC coverage.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Alderman Rapino has made a motion. I will second his motion that we accept the financial report.
Investment report.
Investment report, yes, thank you.
So we have a motion by Alderman Rapino and a second by Alderman Fillinger to accept the investment report as presented. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to item 6, the consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. We have 2 items. Item A is approve the February 2021 invoice number 1271 from Cassana and Ortiz not to exceed $2,550. And item B, approve the minutes from the March 25th, 2021 regular City Council meeting.
If there's no discussion, I move that we accept the consent agenda items as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Chris.
What? What's so funny?
I'm so sorry. Chris just walked by and it was hysterical. Oh, Lordy.
He looks like Steve Urkel.
Let us in on the joke.
He has his shorts pulled up under his arm.
He just looked like Steve Urkel.
That was distracting. Okay. Back to the consent agenda. We have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. That motion carries. Oh, Lordy, Chris. Okay, next up on the agenda is Chris. We're going to move to item 6, animal control. Item A, updates and announcements from Animal Control Advisory Committee, ACAC Chair Jennifer Puente, with possible discussion and/or action. Go ahead, ma'am.
I just wanted to let everybody know one more time, our first meeting will be next month, on Monday, the 12th at 6:30. So if you guys want to join, come right on ahead.
Okay.
That's all I have.
No, you have something going on next weekend too. We have the mobile vet.
Oh,
Saturday, the 17th,
so on the 17th, we'll have the mobile vet coming.
9 to 4, here in the park.
Alderman Fuente, are you planning on having an in-person meeting? And it's just going to be televised via Zoom?
No, let's do it through Zoom.
So all the members will be through Zoom?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Ms. Puente. Okay, and now, Mr. Urkel, item B, presentation of monthly report by ACO. Okay, we're going to move on to item 6B, presentation of monthly report by ACO Chris Maldonado with possible discussion and/or action. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys. So I don't understand why they were laughing at me, but okay. Going over my report for the month of March. I'm not gonna go over the zeroed out portions of it just because there's nothing to report. So starting with the stray warnings, we had 21, 9 citations, 7 impoundments, 4 unable to locate, and 3 resolved prior to contact. For the month of March, we only had 1 cruelty neglect warning. That's probably still pending. I'm not too sure of that one. For the enforcement side, we had 4 warnings, 1 citation.
Wait, we lost you.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. For the enforcement side, we had 4 warnings, 1 citation, and nothing else. So for a total of 50 calls for service. And as of 4/8/2021, we have 8 animals in custody. Any questions?
Of the 8 animals that are in custody, how many of those are the cruelty cases?
4.
4 of them, okay. Do you need any assistance from the Animal Control Advisory Committee with the other 4 that are in custody?
So 3 of them are actually leaving next Thursday.
Okay.
If they want to help get some more dogs out of here, then they're more than welcome.
Okay. Okay, any questions for ACO Maldonado? Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll move on to item 7A, update and announcements from the Park Advisory Committee Chair Tom Rapina with possible discussion and/or action. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, we had a meeting this past Tuesday, and I just want to bring people up some of the things that the park committee is doing. We are looking into obtaining some grants. At our next meeting, we will come up with some items that we may want to go after with a couple of grants that will probably open up here in June and then close at the end of September. We're also working on getting the baseball field operational and maybe getting the community to sponsor some games. I don't know if everybody knows, but a group of us, including the mayor and myself and Alderman Fillinger have, and some volunteers from the Parks Committee and other people have been going down to the baseball field and working on it to get it somewhat in shape. And we'll be doing that again this Saturday morning. And we're getting a water trailer so that we can together so that we can water use water in isolated areas of the park. So there's a lot going on in the park, and we're trying to get more people involved in helping out, getting as many volunteers as we can, so we can bring our park to a place that we can be proud of. We have one issue at the sunshade that we were going to get for the play area. They've raised the price up, but we're scouting other areas to see if we can get a prices that are relatively the same as what we originally had, or maybe we can come up with another way to get that same item with you know, a slightly higher price. Also, we're refurbishing a bench behind the backstop at the we're trying to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Am I talking too long?
No.
Oh,
I was
okay.
talking to myself. Sorry.
Well, I could hear somebody in the background. Okay. All right. So let me finish up. We are probably going to purchase some baseball equipment so that we can get the infield operational. And that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Alderman Rapino, I did hear from a citizen who has access to I call it a blade. I think it's called a scraper that will work on a tractor. They don't have a tractor, but I know somebody who has a tractor. And maybe I can connect those two. And the plan is to go out and clear the play area, the when I say play area, the baseball field, the running areas, or however y'all want to do it. If you want to scrape the whole thing and let's start over, but we do have we possibly do have some volunteers that are willing to help from that side.
Well, that's great. Hopefully we can do that and really get the place looking ship shape. And but what we really need is people that want to play baseball, or softball or whatever. We need to get the community involved. And I know that Alderman Fillinger knows somebody that also that wants to come down, and Ashley also wants to try and get the community involved. So hopefully we can get something going this summer.
Well, you know what they say, from Field of Dreams, if you build it,
right. If we build it, they will come.
Exactly. Okay, thank you for that.
Okay,
the last
that's all
item.
I have.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have one last item under administration, 8A, discuss and or possible action on submission of designs for Fiesta Metal 2021. So each of you have received, and Catherine's going to show that on the screen for us. And I'm going to apologize up front. I did not bring the originals with me, so I'm not going to be able to tell you who the winner is until later, but we will choose a number. And so what I would like to do is go ahead and just have Catherine kind of scroll through these real quick, just so people who are viewing would get them. Can you go ahead and do the next one? Next page. There you go. That's number 2. I think that was number 2. Yeah. Number 3. Yeah. Can you just click pages? There you go. There you go. Yep. Number 3. That's cute, but I don't believe we can use that for copyright purposes, but it's cute.
Gotta love the minions.
Gotta love the minions. They get stuff done. That's number 4. Oh, let me catch up here. Okay, go ahead. Number 5. One more. Number 6. We have 2 more. Number 7. And then number 8. So from the council members, since I wanted to get these to you earlier this week, so you'd have time to really look at those and make a decision on a personal decision. The attending council members, we have 4 of you here. We're missing Mr. Bricken. So it will be, we'll let you guys vote. And I guess if we get into a tie situation, I guess I will vote. But does anybody have a particular design that they think is the one that we should go with, that they'd like to bring up?
I like number 2.
Okay.
I
so
do
that's-
too.
That's Puente and Rapino. Okay. Anyone else on that one? Okay. Mr. Fillinger, did you have a preference? And you can have more than one preference, because we're actually going to select the winning design, first runner-up and second runner-up.
May I speak?
Yes, you may.
I like 2, 5, and 7 were my 3 picks, and not in any special order.
Okay, so let me put Crickmer on here. On 2, 5, and 7. 6.
I had the same preferences, Mayor.
Oh,
2,
perfect.
5, and
Put Rapino on here. 2, Rapino, and Rapino. Okay, we're waiting to hear from Chris. You're cracking me up.
So
what
do you
are
want my
doing?
top 3, Mickey?
I'm sorry, Jennifer, what did you say?
Do you want my top 3?
I would, yes.
Okay, so it's gonna be 2, and then 2, 7, and 6 in that order.
2, 7, and 6.
Okay, and Charles agrees with 2, 5, and 7 in that order.
All right. 7. Okay, so if I have this right, 2 has all 4 votes on that one. Number 3, we decided that's a possible copyright, but and on 5, I have 3, and on 7, I have 4. Yeah, I have 4 of them on 7. So, I'm sorry?
to Mr. Frickman, Filipino need to put theirs like this.
I was thinking more in terms of the ones that got the most votes. And then we would say, okay, those are the three, and then we'll finalize from that.
Okay.
So it looks like 2, 5, and 7 are the finalists here. And I'm going to make a determination that number 5 would be our second runner-up because it only had 3 votes. And then we just need to decide between 2 and 7 on which one of these the council would like to award the design to, and then we'll get it submitted to our contractor.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Of reproduction picture, is it going to come out well, or is there more difficulty or more expense between the two we were considering?
I don't believe so. I did not run any of these designs by our contact because I didn't want that to be a consideration. So that they can make it happen. They have ways of making it happen depending on, you know, how detailed. And what they would do is give us a preliminary design. Now, of course, there'll be a bezel around it as well. And she did a fabulous job. I just gave her the logo last time and they did the rest of it. So, but same thing here. We would give this to her and then she would come back and give us a preliminary design. We would then approve it, and once we have the design, we'll know what the cost will be.
I like the simplicity of number 7 with a little bit of color embellishment and contrast to it.
I do too. And now that I think of it, you can mistake those things coming out of the trees instead of hands. You can think of them as snakes. So I'm changing to number 7 as be my pick.
Your first choice?
Since
Yeah,
it's
7.
metal, it needs to be more simple than what number 2
Yeah,
is.
it's simplistic. Yeah.
Way
between 2 and 7.
too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chris, I interrupted you.
There's a united way possible in copyright infringement on number 2 as well with that heart. And
it's too different. It's too different, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, the United, yeah.
Okay, so Alderman Puente, of 2 or 7, which is your preference for the?
If we're worried about copyright infringement, maybe instead of United, we just put like Sandy Oaks in the middle. But I think 2 really describes our area to the T.
Okay, so that would be your number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, and that leaves Alderman Fillinger.
I'm gonna stick with my original. I prefer number 2. And I agree with Alderman Puente. If there's any possibility of the heart with United being a copyright infringement, we removed United and put Sandy Oaks in the heart.
Y'all are making my life hard here.
Vote, Mayor. Vote.
Oh my, I understand why everyone likes 2 and 7. I do like both of those as well. The simplicity of number 7, I think would be an easy, really, really, really cost-effective solution. But honestly, I like number 2. So that's where I'm going to put my vote. I just think that is so, I think it represents our community. That's exactly, and we will address the copyright issue. So I'm getting some counseling from the counselor here.
It doesn't break my heart.
No. It's just that we took a vote and we need to have an action. And Ms. Ortiz, please help us out with this one. We need an action to accept the drawings, approve the drawings. What are we doing here?
So I would suggest a motion from anyone on the council of whatever their favorite is, and then a vote on a second and a vote on that one. And if that one fails, then move on to the next one, the next pick. So it's really just, it seems
Well,
like
but we're picking a winner and two runners up.
So I would suggest a motion as number fill in the blank as the winner with number blank and blank as the runners up.
Oh, okay, we can do that.
And then a vote on that. And if there is a tie, if it's 3, then you don't need to vote. If there is a tie, then you would vote in that case. And if you vote that is not the order you want, if there is a tie, then just move on to the next. Fill in the motion, fill in the blank as the number 1, and the next blanks as the number 2 and 3.
Okay, well, I'll let you guys heard what she said, so tell me how you want me to put this down.
275.
Okay, so I move that we accept number 2 as the winner. And then
I didn't hear a thing she said.
it was my first time and you didn't hear me.
Because, well, I heard you say number 2 and that was it.
Okay, so I move that we our first runner up and number 5 as our second runner up.
I'll second that.
Okay, hold on just a minute. Number 7 is our first runner-up. Okay.
Yes.
So we have a motion by Alderman Puente and a second by Alderman Crickmer to accept design number 2 as the winning design. And then design number 5 as design number 7 as the first runner-up and design number 5 as the second runner-up.
Correct.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
I
Was that everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, there you go. That motion carries. And I will prepare a letter of congratulations along with a check to the winners. And we'll try to get some pictures of that as well. And I think that they will be excited about that.
Okay.
Okay. And with that, the final business of the evening is we are going to adjourn, and it is 8:19 p.m. And I would like to thank everybody for their participation this evening. Have a great evening.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
See you on Tuesday.
Chat. We need a motion